Welcome back to Seize the Adventure. In today's episode, we're going to be cutting a 14 by 14 inch square into the roof of our 1997 Dodge Ram B2500. This is to install our MaxxFan rooftop vent. Let's jump straight into it. So this is the roof vent we went with. This is the MaxxFan 6401. Pretty basic model, and we ordered it in the smoke color. This is a necessity for any van build. There's a lot of condensation that comes with sleeping inside of a vehicle. So you're gonna want something to provide you with good airflow throughout the van. And this is also beneficial for exhausting any food smells or those sorts of things. This is a relatively easy process overall, but there's some pretty bad consequences for messing up. So you want to be very thorough, and this is going to be somewhat of a new experience for me because this roof is fiberglass. It's not a metal roof, so we're just gonna have to take our time and be delicate with the fiberglass. I do not want to crack it, but it seems to be in pretty good condition overall. Any products that you see me use in this video will be linked down in the description below. It'll be easy, just go ahead, check out those links, purchase this same MaxxFan that I use to put in my van. So this way, I can do the hard work of finding the best deals and show you a little tutorial on how to install them. So the very first step to this process is taking out a piece of cardboard actually out of the box that the fan came in. And we'll measure a 14 by 14 inch square on this because all these vent fans are a 14 by 14 standard size. So we'll go ahead, make our little template, and then we'll show you what we do next. So now that we have our little 14 by 14 inch template, now we'll try to determine the best location for the vent fan. In my last van, I had the vent fan kind of in the back above the bed. This time I think I'm gonna put it right up here in the front. I'm gonna open up these back windows and these side windows, and then we'll have a really good cross breeze coming from the back out the front of the van. I'll be putting a stove in this area, so that'll work as ventilation as well. So we're gonna go ahead and find the best location for this and probably drill a center hole. The reason we have a hole right in the center is this way we know where to place the template up on the roof. I think this location will work out pretty well, so let's go ahead and maybe take a peek up on the roof first and then drill this hole. So let's put the first hole in the van. Let's see. Awesome, nice and clean. Let's go up on the roof. Now that we have the template drawn out under the roof, it's time to put 4 holes, 1 in each corner of this square, and that's where we will begin cutting. We'll put the blade into one of those corners wherever we feel is best and cut a big hole. It seems to be fiberglass, and then a little bit of wood in these ribs in the fiberglass. Could be wrong, but just what it seems like so far. Which is actually a good sign. It'll be easy to mount things too. Well, here you have it. 14 by 14 inch square taken right out. It's actually really cool because now I know that there's wood studs in the ceiling up here, and these are great mounting points. I was a little bit worried about that for putting the ceiling up, but it's gonna be no problem. Next we need to install this piece using some butyl tape and some silicone and screws. So we'll have to drill some holes and install this, and then the fan will sit right inside of this. Now that we got this tightened down in a star fashion, we're gonna apply some lap sealant. It'll also be linked down in the description below. Essentially what it is a self-leveling silicone. So it's been a couple of days since we installed our MaxxFan, and we're gonna go ahead and see how we did. I haven't even checked it out yet. Overall, it seems like the fan install went well, even though I was a little bit worried about the fiberglass ceiling. Didn't know how brittle it was, if it was gonna crack under the pressure of the jigsaw. But overall, I think it went super smooth. I knocked that whole project out in 2.5 hours maybe. So these ribs are actually full of wood. I thought this was just thicker fiberglass sections, but there's an actual piece of wood in here, if you can see that. So I used this to my advantage, not even knowing about this prior, but I put the screws into this actual rib in the ceiling, so this fan is very secure. These 3 screws are the only ones that didn't make it into the actual rib, and they're just sitting in the fiberglass. So I just put a little bit of the lap sealant on them. This is what the fan is looking like. So let's talk a little bit about the fan itself. It's a relatively simple model. I think it's the 6401 model. And essentially it has 4 speeds. I believe it just pulls air out of the fan, so it's just an exhaust fan. And it has this cool little dial right here, which opens up your fan. You can close that down, and then I guess you're supposed to push it to lock it in. The biggest reason why I went with the fan that I did go with, the MaxxFan, is it has a built-in rain guard, and I live in the Pacific Northwest, where in the wintertime it rains all the time. So it's really important to have some type of rain guard if you have a big gaping 14 by 14 inch hole in your roof. So the vent of this fan is angled downward. This just helps prevent rain from getting inside, and it's not just one large gaping hole. This entire thing comes directly down right on top of the roof, and it sits very flush. In my last fan build, I went with a fantastic fan, and honestly, it worked great. Some would say fantastic, but it didn't have one of those rain guards, so I could only open it up just a tiny bit when it was raining outside, just to get that little bit of air moving through, and honestly, that wasn't the best. With this fan, I can run it no matter what the weather conditions are. In the pouring rain, I'm gonna stay dry. So that just about wraps up the MaxxFan install video. I was able to be confident in cutting the hole, and it wasn't as nerve-wracking as maybe that first time. Stay tuned for more content on this camper van build series, and as always, we'll see you in the next adventure.